Hey nurses, so happy day before Thanksgiving, and I'm here today with Donni Alvarenga, and I'm super excited to introduce you to her. She is nurse practitioner, sort of formerly nurse practitioner, now this amazing health coach, and she's here to talk about her Nurses Nurturing Nurses story. So Donni, can you tell us about that transition from sort of your career path into this amazing health coaching thing that you're doing?
Absolutely. I actually started out my nursing career 20 years ago. Crazy talk, crazy talk.
I know.
Um, um, in oncology. So I did 8 years of oncology nursing before I eventually transitioned. But the reason I shared this part of the story is because my experience in working with cancer patients really sparked my interest in health and wellness. I just noticed that my job as a nurse was really to help people be just healthy enough so they could leave the hospital. It was really never about really helping them be healthy. And that healthy enough philosophy was just never really healthy enough for me. I wanted to help people be healthy. And actually, I remember one story in particular. When I was an oncology nurse, one of my jobs, once upon a time, was for me to evaluate people's labs in between chemotherapy treatments to evaluate when their labs were dropping and, counsel them and evaluate for risks and so forth. And I had a patient that had a platelet count of something like 16. And my job was to call her and find out if she had any signs of bleeding, and to tell her not to floss her teeth and not shave her legs and not engage in any kind of contact sports. And yeah, this was like I said, like way long time ago. We didn't have cell phones so readily available. And her son picks up the phone and tells me, "Oh, Mom is bobsledding." And your face pretty much tells my reaction. I was like, "Oh, she cannot be bobsledding. She's got a platelet count that is nearly not compatible with life."
Yeah.
And I was in a little bit of a panic. And I was like, how in the world are we going to communicate with this woman? She didn't have a cell phone. And anyways, the reason I share that is because when I got off the phone, I realized that I had literally suggested this woman needed to stop living so she could stay alive. And that was the moment I realized that I wouldn't do it any different now. I would absolutely do the same thing, say, "Hey, you cannot go bobsledding." Right. But I just realized that that's not what I wanted to spend my life doing. I wanted to invest my life in helping people go bobsledding and helping people thrive and really be healthy. And so that kind of kicked off my journey into trying to figure out how in the world can I make a living helping people be healthy. It's a crazy question.
Right. And also a crazy question because you were a nurse and you like, isn't that what nurses do? I mean,
no, nurses make a living managing disease and teaching people how to manage their diseases.
Yep.
And I didn't want to manage disease. That was what I was doing. I was managing a disease. I was telling her she couldn't go bobsledding because her platelet count was low. And I wanted to help her go bobsledding. And I just realized, that at the point people came to me in oncology, I loved my patients and I loved what I did. Don't get me wrong. It's just I wanted to do more, right? And I wanted to make it possible so that they would never have to end up on an oncology unit if I had anything to do with it. And what you asked is such an irrelevant question, well, you're a nurse. Isn't that what you do? And the irony behind it all is that in my exploration of how can I make a living helping people be healthy, every road seemed to lead me outside of nursing. I kept thinking I had to leave. I had to go do something else if I really wanted to make a living doing something, Anyways, I didn't like the idea of starting over. I didn't like the idea of maybe taking a pay cut. And so I decided to become a pediatric nurse practitioner. And I did that for a while, and I did love it. I loved being an oncology nurse, and I loved pediatric nursing as well as a nurse practitioner. But once again, I still felt like I wanted to do more. It wasn't exactly what I really, really wanted to do. And I was so excited when I got introduced to the concept of health coaching 16 years later. It was a 16-year journey from when I started trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up.
Well, so my first piece of advice is just don't ever grow up. It's no fun.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. So I started, I was running a weight management program for kids as a nurse practitioner. And I thought that that was a way that I could help raise healthy children that would never be sick adults and that would never have cancer. That was my goal. I was going to raise healthy children. And I like to believe that I made a difference, but I'm not sure that I made the kind of difference I really wanted to make. Mm-hmm. I don't know if any nurse watching here has ever faced any of the challenges associated with bureaucracy. And I did. So while I was running that weight management program, I got pregnant with twins. And when I delivered my twins, lo and behold, the weight management person gained 50 pounds. I gained 50 pounds after my twins were born.
That's a tough reality. Let me tell you. Talk about feeling a little incongruent, huh?
Absolutely. And what happened was that I got introduced to health coaching. My husband wanted to work with a coach. And I was thinking, I'm a master's prepared nurse, buddy. I don't need a health coach that's not even a health professional. What can she do for me, right? I was a little bit of a snob about it. And yet, that's when I discovered what I wanted to be when I grow up. She could deliver results that I could never deliver to any of my clients. She did it all from home. And I was a brand spanking new mama. I wanted to be home. And, the fact that she could deliver results, she could help people get healthy. I ended up losing 55 pounds. My husband lost 100.
Oh my God.
It caught my attention.
Right? First of all, yay for both of you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Yeah, just soak that in. I'm so proud of both of you. That's incredible.
Well, what happened is we were melting away and people started asking us, what are you doing? And, here I had been looking for a way to help people be healthy. I just didn't ever believe in my wildest dreams that I could make a living helping people be healthy. So I had come from a model. Part of the bureaucracy that I came from was the idea that there was no money in wellness. And so therefore, that was the challenge that I had with being able to offer the services I wanted to offer. And so the idea of making a living, helping people be healthy, I had almost given up on that. And yet the crazy thing was that when people asked me what I was doing, I thought, why would I not share this? I'll just do it out of the kindness of my heart.
Sure.
It's the simplest thing I've ever done. And it's the most comprehensive thing I've ever done. It lines up with absolutely everything I've ever, researched to put this program together, right? Why would I not share it? I'll just do it out of the kindness of my heart. And the crazy thing that happened was that I started coaching in March. Come October, I was able to quit my job as a nurse practitioner because I had replaced my income, and that mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Because not only are you a master's prepared professional, but you replaced your income working outside of that box, which you didn't think was possible.
I didn't think it was possible. And, your question was, how is it that I'm nurturing nurses, right? Well, what ended up happening was that about 3 or 4 years after I had launched my health coaching business, I hosted a webinar with the CEO of Telenurse Network on the topic of non-clinical nursing roles. And the first surprise was the tremendous interest there was from nurses to leave the bedside. Who knew?
Yeah.
There was a huge interest.
You know why I think that is because I think that a lot of us nurses, I will include myself in this, have this idea of getting into nursing to make a genuine difference. And then we realize, like you said, that the reality of nursing is not that we are helping people into wellness, we're helping people manage disease. And we see this sort of revolving door of people managing disease and never figuring out how to get out of that cycle. And to a lot of our nurse souls, that is not the vision that we had for our profession. And so I feel like there's a little bit of disillusionment in what we actually think a nurse does and what we think we're going to be able to do with our career. And part of what fires us up is getting people healthy and seeing people thriving and seeing people in their optimal state of well-being, not having to see them in the hospital so sick and like trying to educate them about how to manage their disease.
Right. I have noticed there's a huge disconnect between what a nurse hoped she would do or he would do, and what they actually do. And I do believe that that is a root cause for burnout in nurses. And when we did this webinar, there was this huge interest. And that was the first surprise. You know, I did not do any paid advertising, and we had almost 200 attendees on the webinar. And we did we did a survey and asked what nurses were most interested in, if they were interested in legal nurse consulting or case management or wellness. And about 80% of them were interested in wellness. And I was thinking, wait a minute, that's what I do. You know, I kind of cracked the code. And this is the deal, is that at that point, not only was I, you know, not having to work as a nurse practitioner anymore, but at that point, my husband was laid off, and we had consciously decided he would stay home. And so that's because the coaching business was doing really well, right? And so not only was I home, but now my husband was home, and we were building this coaching business. And I thought, if I did it, anybody can do it. Oh my goodness. If I did it, anybody can do it. And all these nurses are looking for a way to make a difference in the world. They're looking for a way of making a living, helping people be healthy. Ding, 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 ding. That sounded really familiar. So I started a group, myself and my business partner, we started a group called Nursing Outside the Box. And it's just been interesting how organic it has grown over the past couple of years, with nurses that are looking to have more flexibility, more purpose, more balance. I just noticed those were things that nurses were craving, and I could help them do that just because I was able to do it, right? So now I help nurses find a little bit more flexibility by making a living working from home, helping people get healthy, like actually come off of blood pressure medications and actually come off of blood sugar medications, all by making simple lifestyle habit changes.
That is absolutely incredible. And I think that like probably when nurses are listening to this, like there's going to be some major like light bulb. How do I do that? Because like you said, there's that disconnect between what we had hoped and what we end up actually doing. And I know that the majority of us that hope to like make that genuine difference and had that passion inside of us to really like shake things up and, you know, create wellness for people, like that passion is still in there. Like just because you might be like, you know, stuck in a cycle where you're at a job and you're nursing illness, like that passion hasn't gone away. It's still there. So I can imagine that some nurses listening to this are like, tell me how.
Well, the fact that you have this, you know, that you've created this show, right? Nurses Nurturing Nurses.
Yep.
You have a heart for nurturing nurses, right?
Exactly.
And so you probably see it all the time that nurses are looking for something. And the critical piece that I have found is finding an ability to get paid for that passion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the fact is we all have bills. We all have bills. And at the end of the day, like if we can't nurture ourselves by making sure our bills are paid, then what is the point? Because that alone shoots our stress up, and then we are not able to live our healthiest self because we're so stressed out about money. That doesn't work.
Well, I actually wrote a book, once again, with my business partner, David Bush, and we called it Nurses Health Coaching and Nurses Career Path to Flexibility, Purpose, and Balance. And in that book, we outline 5 different areas of well-being that have been identified by Gallup researchers. You know, Gallup, the Gallup organization that does research on several different topics. Yeah. And there's a book that they wrote called Wellbeing. And they identified 5 areas that, define well-being. And that's physical well-being, social, community, financial, and career. And what's really interesting is that people will oftentimes come to me for health coaching because they're looking for the physical piece. They're looking to control their blood pressure or their blood sugar or their cholesterol or their weight. When it comes to nurses, more often than not, they're looking for the healthy career piece, right? But that's usually very, very connected with the financial piece, because they can't ever live out their passion if they don't have a way to make those ends meet. And so the idea of helping a nurse launch their wellness business is not just about business, it's actually health coaching. I'm doing health coaching by helping a nurse launch a health coaching business because I'm helping them find that meaning and purpose, and I'm helping them get paid for that. And that just raises the level of well-being to a whole new level. And I can't tell you how amazing it feels to be able to offer nurses hope. One of the reasons that I became a nurse, besides the fact that I absolutely love the study of the human body, I absolutely love anatomy and physiology, right? I'm a little bit of a nerd that way. I, wanted to help people, but one of the deciding factors was I wanted job security. I wanted to know that I was going to have a job no matter what. And I thought, who would ever fire a nurse? And I've got to tell you that in the last 2 months, I have been able to help 3 nurses that have been laid off, which blows my mind. Blows my mind that a nurse would ever be laid off. And so here, once again, that financial well-being is in jeopardy, and I'm now able to step in and help them. And not only help them in terms of generating an income, but doing it in a way that gives them tremendous meaning and purpose, where they're actually able to make a difference in people's lives the way they hoped they would.
You know what else I love about what it is that you do is the fact that, like, even if the nurse isn't looking for weight loss, or if they're not even looking for changing their own lifestyles, through helping them start their own health coaching business, they actually, as a bonus, end up getting healthier themselves, because they learn new tools and new tricks and new tips, and they integrate those into their daily lives because they really embody what it is that they teach just so naturally. And so in doing that, not only have they created health for themselves and financial stability and connecting to that, core desire of wanting to see people have optimal health, but they've also gotten the opportunity to really change their family tree, because when they embody that, that then translates over to all of the lives that they are close to, which, like, I truly, truly believe. And the reason that I have so much excitement and so much desire to really nurture nurses is because I truly believe that when a nurse shows up as whole and healthy, that everything flows through them. And with as many lives as nurses touch every day, think about the exponential power that nurses have to make a difference for this world, for not just the people in their immediate world, but for everybody that they touch. And like, we just have so much power. And like, how do I pull as many with me, with you, with us? Like, how do we create that? And of course, I don't know all of the hows, but I've got the drive, and I know that we are so powerful. And so, that's what leads to interviews.
We absolutely are incredibly powerful. And I was sharing with you the 5 different areas of well-being. And what's interesting is that they found that not everybody has well-being in those. I think it's only like 2% of the world's population has well-being in all 5 areas. However, what they found was that people that have career well-being, they're twice as likely to have the well-being in the different areas, which is exactly what you just finished saying. And yet it's interesting because as nurses, we're programmed right out the gates. We're programmed to say, I need to do my time. I'm going to do med surg first. We don't allow nurses to say, I want to do something. No. You need to get your med surg experience because you need to have that under your belt. You need to do your time. You need to be miserable long enough before you ever earn the right to want what you want, right? And so we see work as work. We never look at work as part of our well-being. And the truth is that it affects our well-being in so many different ways. It is scientifically research proven through this Gallup organization. And so I know that it was a trickle-down effect that you and I connected through Nursing Outside the Box, right?
Absolutely.
And what has been your experience so far in terms of the way that we've connected?
So it's so fascinating because we connected through Shelly, and she's one of the nurses who is doing coaching with you. And by the way, Shelly, within 6 months, was able to go per diem at her job, and she replaced all of her income, and she's actually considering going all to outside the box altogether and just both feet in. But I connected with Shelly because I was going to interview her for her bouncing back from burnout and her Nurses Nurturing Nurses story. And when she started telling me about what you guys are doing, I had that soul pull, like, yes, 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 yes. Thank God there are more of us, because this is exactly what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to, like, how many of us can we pull together, and how many of us can we inspire as that, that pebble in the pond, one little pebble, and it's created this whole ripple effect. And really, in the course of getting to know both of you, I just knew automatically that, like, this was the thing. This was the next step, because I'd already been nursing sort of outside of the box, as you say. And I had done this life coaching thing for a couple of years for nurses, and I love doing that. And the health piece seemed like that last piece of that puzzle for me that really just put it all together, because it's really that big picture wellness. It's not just your mindset. It's not just your spirit. It's not just your finances. It's all of it: physical, mental, emotional, and what surrounds you. And so I just love that you guys have created Nursing Outside of the Box, and I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to be part of what you're doing and where you're going, because it's so in alignment. And I really don't believe in, like happenstance. Like, this happened for a reason, because we are all in alignment, and like, we're really out there not just to be coaches and make money, which of course fulfills our desire to help other people and create us a foundation for our finances, but it also impacts that bigger picture. And it's just so incredible. So can you tell me a little bit more about Nursing Outside the Box and really sort of define what that means?
Yeah, so Nursing Outside the Box exists to empower nurses to find more flexibility, purpose, and balance in what they do for a living through health coaching and entrepreneurship. This is the deal, is that another part of the nursing culture is that we believe that we need to have every single letter of the alphabet following our name before we get out of bed in the morning. We believe that we need to have a million umpteen certifications and qualifications and degrees to make us the professionals we want to be. And in Nursing Outside the Box, I know for a fact that nurses already are health coaches. Yeah. And they don't need any extra certifications and education to actually function as health coaches. So much so that if you go look for a job as a health coach, usually they'll say the only requirement is that you either be a nutritionist or a nurse. So they don't require that you have certifications. They don't require that, they just say if you're a nutritionist or a nurse, you're qualified. Okay. And yet when nurses are considering whether they might be interested in wellness or not, their very first question is, what education do I need to become a coach? And so Nursing Outside the Box exists to empower the nurses to utilize their current existing skills to launch a lucrative health coaching business. And this is the deal, is that anytime you run a business, there's no income guarantee. I can't tell anybody how much they're going to make, because it really just depends on their skill set, their work ethic, their drive, the time they're willing to invest. However, what I can say is that I have a model that is simple and you can just plug and play. And that by leveraging your existing skills with a system that works, you're able to help a lot of people and you're able to generate an income. And that's really the critical piece. I think that a lot of nurses, they struggle with the idea, especially if they are entrepreneurial. They struggle sometimes with the idea of charging for their services because it almost feels like it, I know that I did, it feels like it lessens my passion, right? If I get paid for it. But the truth of the matter is this, is that if we don't get paid for our passion, we don't get to invest in our passion. And we then have to invest time or waste time, going to work so that we can pay our bills. And then the leftover time is the only time that we have to invest in that passion. And that limits the good we can do in the world. That limits the well-being that we experience in terms of our fulfillment. Yep. And so the secret sauce is actually being able to make ends meet by helping others. Now, there's a lot of nurses and health coaches that I work with that they're not interested in making a full-time income, and that's okay. We can help people whatever income range they want. But the truth of the matter is that we're able to help people generate an income.
That's absolutely incredible. So there's one thing that you keep saying that I really want to highlight. Like I heard you say earlier, like this is the thing that you want to invest your life in. You want to invest your time or waste your time. And this is something that I actually talk to my clients about, is that time is a currency. It's like money. Like when you invest money, you expect that there's going to be a return on that investment. And time is the exact same way, because you never get it back and you only have so much of it. So why not be mindful and treat your time as if it were an investment and really decide what it is that's going to give you the biggest return? And like you said, not every nurse is looking to be a full-time health coach or, invest their time into getting a full-time income from coaching. And that's totally okay if that's what feels great. If investing your time full-time in coaching gives you that return on investment, gives you that financial stability, gives you that sense of meaning and purpose, gives you that connection with that community of people who are really wanting to get off medications and take charge of their health by doing all of those simple things. And, you were talking about your system, and really what I've learned in the last, only 2.5 or 3 weeks that we have sort of known each other, is that what you teach, what we teach as health coaches, are all of those simple little things. Like there's nothing rocket science in what we're doing. All we're doing is encouraging people to do the small things on a consistent basis. And when you add those things up over time, the return on investment is massive. People do not, they completely underestimate the power of investing all of those small choices every single day over time. And that's really what we do, is we leverage those small choices to create a massive impact on the back end, which is so freaking inspiring, because I feel like a lot of people feel like, well, there's a pill for that, or that's what I go to the doctor for. And the question is, like, how's that working out for you? And are you actually able to invest in a life that you really love? And if you're not, then we should open that conversation.
I love that. We should open that conversation and just explore, really.
Yep.
A question for the nurses is, are you living life according to what's really most important to you? And this is the deal, is that you were talking about time, and what we use our time for is a tell. It's a tell about what's really most important to us.
Yes.
And so if we were to open up your calendar, will your calendar convict you of what is truly most important?
Oh, busted. So busted. So on that note, there's a new scheduling strategy that I've learned, and I feel like I should just really throw it in here. It comes from Heather Chauvin. She does a podcast called Mom is in Control, and she talks about energetic time management. And when you open your calendar, before you fill in your to-dos, you fill in the way you want to feel. So you talk about, how do I want to feel today? What experience do I want from this day? And once you answer that question, you then fill out your schedule based on the things that you need to do in order to create those feelings. And guess what? Since I started scheduling that way, number one, I feel much more fulfilled at the end of my day. And there's still laundry in the washing machine, and the floor is still dirty, and there's dishes still in the sink. But guess what? I lay my head on the pillow feeling so connected, so happy, so fulfilled, because I'm not being run by my to-do list. I'm being run by the experience that I want in this life. And I think that that is really what the beauty of health coaching is. It's not only do you get to learn about your own personal health, but you get to learn about designing the life that you really, truly want to live.
That is so incredibly powerful. The idea of designing your life and the fact that we have the power to do that.
Yeah.
We have the power. You know, sometimes when I hear nurses complaining about their situation, I'm curious to find out, okay, so what are you going to do about it?
Amen.
You know?
Amen.
What are you going to do about what's bothering you? Because you have the power to change it. You might not have the power to change the bureaucracy of the hospital. You might not have the power to change, I don't know, patient ratios right now, but you have the power to leave, which is what I did.
You do. And I also want to just put out there that if health coaching is not for you, if nursing outside of the box is not for you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because nursing inside of that box is incredibly valuable. The question, I think, and the conversation that we like to open is doing that work, is enjoying that career, is that fulfilling you? Is that giving you that return on investment that you are looking for? And if the answer is yes, then we are in 100% full support of you living your life on your terms and doing what you want to do. And the flip side of that is, if you're investing your time and trading your time for money and it's not filling you and you're not feeling like you're really living your life to maximize the way that you want to feel and the experience that you want, there's a way to do that also. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're fired up about. That's what we're over here talking all the time. Like, how do we create this for people?
Yes. I mean, absolutely, you know, the world needs nurses. That's one of the reasons why I thought I would have job security as a nurse. You know, I have needed nurses, and I've been so incredibly grateful to have nurses taking care of me. And, you know, when I was talking about my patient with the platelet count of 16, right? That is such a necessary function for a nurse to communicate with the patients that they are, you know, at risk for bleeding and how to prevent that. And so, you know, nurses make a tremendous impact in the world. They absolutely do, in whatever function that they have. And that's one of the reasons I'm so incredibly passionate about making sure that they're getting out of this life what they deserve, because they deserve to create what they want. And so if making that call about a platelet count, if doing CPR, right? If starting an IV is what gives you your kicks in life, oh my goodness, that is what you should be doing. That is what you should be doing. And we want to cheer you on. But if that is not what you wish you would be doing, if you wish there was something more that you could do or something different that you can do, we just hope to inspire you that there is hope and there is something more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I could not agree more with you. Like, the world needs nurses. And again, like, the more nurses that we can help really design the life that they love, when they show up from that place, oh my God, the power that that nurse has to drop that pebble in that pond and create a tsunami on the other end of the world. I mean, for real.
Think about the show me your stethoscope movement. That happened like that.
Yep.
Right? Because nurses got together around a stethoscope. Can you imagine? around a doctor's stethoscope. So imagine if we decided to get around the idea of designing our life around what really matters to us. We would be unstoppable. I know that we are unstoppable if we just wrap our brain around it.
Yep. 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 So, Donni, if we could leave our fellow nurses with like 2 or 3 sort of tips on like nurturing or how to get a hold of us, or, you know, just something to inspire them, what would those like 1 to 3 things be that we can leave them with?
My first thing is to really get clear on what's really most important to you. And that would be the first thing. Gain some clarity on that. You know, if time and money was not an issue, what is most important to you? And then second of all, I would recommend that you fight for that tooth and nail to make sure that your schedule will reflect that. And my third thing is to find a way to get paid to make that a priority.
Amen. Absolutely. That's so amazing. Well, Donni, I just love what you do, and I am so, so thrilled to be part of the Nursing Outside of the Box community, and I am just grateful for every single second that I get to invest my time sharing with you and, you know, just moving this journey forward to create an impact for as many nurses, which flows over to as many human beings as possible. Because like you said, if we can get together and create a movement over a stethoscope, like think about the power that we have. So,
oh my goodness, absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time, and all of you nurses out there. I hope that you found some nurturing in our interview, and have an amazing, well, it's almost night here, but whatever time of day it is, I hope the rest of it is amazing for you. Take care.
Thanks.